Retired U.S. Air Force Brigadier General John Dragon Teichert knows full well the impact of a shutdown on the military. He served when the last two shutdowns hit the government and the military, and he joins us now with this take on the impact that the military members and service members could experience here. So welcome to the show. Good morning, and thanks for coming on. Who in the military is most at risk if a government shutdown does indeed happen?
So I think we've got to look at the fact that many of our military members are actually working below the minimum wage.
Okay.
And they don't have large savings accounts or investment accounts that can cause them or allow them a pad through challenging times like this. And even every time a government shutdown is mentioned, they think about how are they going to pay their rent? How are they going to buy their groceries? How are they going to provide childcare to their children, to their kids? And I just think that we're dumping the political malfunction and malpractice of Congress onto the backs of those.
Obviously, politicians love to thank people for their service, but then there's actually when the rubber hits the road and when you have to fund things. Speaking in the long term, how do shutdowns impact national security?
Absolutely. So let me start with the broader national security implications, which is that every time there's a continuing resolution or a shutdown, 12 of the last 13 years, we've faced exactly that. Then now our modernization programs come to a halt for the most part, and it makes it more difficult to recruit or retain for the reasons that I mentioned earlier. And again, this is just chronic malfunction that we need to resolve in order to maintain our national security and support those that are providing it for us.
So when you see all of this infighting back and forth, and like I mentioned, you experienced two of these shutdowns while you were serving, what is going through your mind? You know, yet again, deja vu, here we are.
It is. Every time one of these is even discussed, we get distracted in the military because it takes weeks of preparation to be ready for an actual shutdown. And then ultimately, if there is a shutdown or a continuing resolution, a lot of things do not go on as they should. And it really just takes our eye off of the ball of the very real threats that exist out there in China and Russia and others. And again, all of this energy and all of this time and all of these resources are focused on preparing for a shutdown or thinking about a shutdown. All the while, the anxiety grows amongst our military members that are living paycheck to paycheck.
What impact does it have on military contractors and the delivery of supplies and weapons? Obviously, again, people got to get paid, and when you have a bump in the road, that has ripple effects, doesn't it, General?
It does indeed have ripple effects, and it depends on the contract, but ultimately no new contracts can start during a continuing resolution or a shutdown, which means that all of these great strategic plans that we've been considering in the military have to come to a halt until we have a real budget that isn't a continuing resolution and that certainly isn't undergone during the midst of government shutdown. And we need to get our act together to maintain our national security and to protect our troops, because right now, like I said, there are real threats. And every time our eye is off the ball, they get more and more emboldened.
General, you'd mentioned about recruitment and retainment. I heard stories the other day about how recruitment numbers are down. It's getting harder for recruiters to do their job. I mean, do these hiccups in our funding structure, as you will, and they become regular hiccups, does that affect that capacity to replenish our national defense?
It does. And these are more than just hiccups. These are existential threats to those military members, like I said, that are serving below minimum wage, sadly, and that ultimately don't have the pad to deal with a hiccup or, more importantly, a crisis in their rent or their grocery bill or their utility bill or their ability to care for their kids. And every time we do this, those that would consider the military shrug their shoulders and say that government service may not be worth it. And those that are in severely consider whether they should continue to stay in because the basic functions of the government are not being cared for by our Congress and by our White House.
Well, you're definitely right there. The men and women who stand in the dotted line ought to get paid on time.
Yeah.
John Dragon Teichert, retired Brigadier General of the U.S. Air Force and founder, president of Capital Leadership. Thank you for sharing your expertise. We certainly appreciate it.
Thanks for letting me join you.